Hi everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. My name is John, your host as always, and I hope you're all doing well as I always do. Apologies for those that were waiting for the live stream because there was a bit of an issue with setting stuff up because I set it up on my phone originally, and as a result of it, it was more down to the fact that it just didn't want to play ball. But we are up and running. We are live. Thank you very much to everybody that's watching, all two of you. But as always, guys, let's say hello to who's in the chat because there are some people in here already. From the Anvil, James, hello, mate. Good to see you. Hope you're keeping all right. And Happy Hammerer is making a debut in the chat as well. Two guys straight away. So thank you very much for popping in, peeps. Much appreciated. As always, guys, this video is sponsored by the channel sponsor, 3retro.com. Please click the link in the description below that will take you directly through to the West Ham section of their website. We can purchase some really nice retro gear, guys, as you know from the animations that have been going up on the previews for the last 2 to 3 years. There's also some really nice polo shirts, sweatshirts, t-shirts and track jackets in there as well, so go check those out. Any purchases you make through the link in the description below, the commission that the channel would normally be getting, I'll be sending directly on to Iron Supporting Food Banks, the charity in the Newham area that are helping those in the Newham area and also the Essex County as well, that are struggling in these really difficult times, because at the end of the day, guys, we know how expensive life is getting at the minute. And also, so basically go grab yourself some really nice shirt. You'll be saving yourself a few quid in comparison to the club shop as well, and you'll be helping those that are less fortunate than you and I. I genuinely will be sending any commission, and there hasn't been purchases for almost a year, guys, so come on, go grab yourself a really nice shirt. Even if you're getting a discount polo t-shirt at the minute, you'll be helping those that are less fortunate than you and I. So James says, hello again. For a winger, I suggested the suggestion Terrier or how the bloody hell do you pronounce that? Akturk Uglu. If you, it sounds more like a character out of more like a character out of Blackadder than anything else, but perfectly. And Hammer says, saying good to finally make a stream. Yeah, absolutely agree with you, Hunt. So, yeah, so basically we're going to be having Dennis from the West Ham Way. He's going to be joining us at some point. He's usually quite crap when it comes to this sort of thing. But yeah, he will be joining us at a certain point. If anybody else wants to join in the chat as well, for that matter, then you guys are more than welcome to. If you want to, then by all means let us know, and I will stick the information in the live chat. Sorry, in the description, I should say, so you can come in at your perusal. Let's have a look, see what we're talking about. So Hammer is saying for a winger, I'd go with that chap Antonio is with a proper number 9 up top. That's not a bad idea, to be honest with you. And James is confirming Actor Tolu. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Did I just say makes Lord Melchett noise? Just. Where is it? James is saying Vlasic in the 10. Absolutely agree with you, mate. Completely agree with you. James is saying Terrier for me is a baller. So again, guys, what we're doing is we are going to be talking, as you can pretty much see from the title and the card, and also the conversation so far. We're going to be talking about the West Ham transfer window so far. Now, I'm not, guys, for those that don't watch the channel on a regular basis, granted, some of them are new to the channel, but we have been chatting with them for a while. I don't do any rumours. You can ask me my opinion on players. I'll tell you if I know about them, tell you if it's a good thing or not. I've no idea if they're going to work, anything's going to happen. But you know, there's obviously a big bloke. There's a lot of crap going around as it stands at the moment. There's only one bloke you should really be listening to, and that's ex-West Ham employee. Even the Athletic is getting a bit dodgy at the minute, but yeah, they're really good. And Mick, hello mate, hope you're keeping well. Yeah, so James is saying for a winger, there's a guy called Sofiane Diop who plays for Monaco. He's very tidy and plays with technical skill. I've heard of him, and talk of the devil, just like a bit like Beetlejuice. Just as you mentioned his name a couple of times, he pops up. So let me just try and bring him in before we actually before we go in. I just want to make sure that everything is set up perfectly. Hang on 2 seconds, mate. I don't know why I'm plugging them in, because I can't hear you at the minute, because I've got to put my earphones in. Hang on a second. So, keep talking. I can't hear you. It's fine. Keep talking. The guys can, but I can't. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Yeah, you can tell I ain't done this for a while, can't you? Where are we? Where are we? Audio. There we go. So audio settings. I don't know why it defaults to that. But right, let's just sort two things out. So, where is first guest? There we go. So there you should pop up any second. There you go. I've just got to readjust your frame, mate. So, oh no, it's looking a little bit too big. Don't want to have you too much of a big head. You able to sit back just a little bit then? Perfect. Thank you very much, mate. Even though it's completely just screwed everything up now, so I've got to readjust it. Oh, come on. What's going on? Right, for some random reason, it's only bringing in... Why is it doing this? Hang on. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is why I never have guests on while I'm streaming, because it's a pain in the ass to try and get stuff looking right. Where are we? There we go. He's not looking as... Let me just put it back on. Apologies, guys. Yeah, this as usual for those that watch the channel on a regular basis. There's usually a lot of cock ups that happen, but we are back and we are live. But there is a massive delay for some stupid reason. But ladies and gentlemen, making his debut on the channel, you would have seen him just almost there for a second. Boom, Dennis Watling. Hello, Dennis, mate. How are you keeping?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back on the YouTube. It was a scary couple of minutes there.
That's an understatement, mate. It's an absolute bloody understatement. This always happens when I don't go live for a little while. All of a sudden, it just absolutely just goes mental, and it really screws everything up as always planned. But that's live. That's live work. That's what happens when you go live, guys. So, for those that don't know you, buddy, introduce yourself and let people know.
So I'm Dennis. I'm predominantly on the West Ham way, but I have been a bit of a social butterfly on West Ham YouTube channels. A season ticket holder in the West Stand. Don't judge me; it's the only one I could get. I've been supporting us since West Ham cost my dad a bet when he grounded me when we drew with Man United 2-2. Davor Suker last-minute equaliser. That was the day I became a West Ham fan. And I'm a big defender of the indefensible sometimes. We'll let you troll through my Twitter account to see which footballers I've defended over the years. But I think that's enough. Any more, people start switching off. But yeah.
So technically this is take 3 of the live conversation about the I was about to say January transfer window then for some stupid fucking reason.
It feels like the January transfer window.
So just as
already in winter.
Just as well, yeah. In comparison to how it was on Monday and yesterday, mate. Yeah, it does feel like winter.
Mate, just going outside, being able to breathe air without it hurting was great. like I don't know where it was with you, but it was like 38, 39 degrees around 2 o'clock yesterday. I put my washing out. And it dried in 45 minutes.
It was pretty cool, to be fair. And do you know what? Before we get onto the topic, Dennis is a good mate of mine. If you guys have seen the video I did last week, He's one of the guys that we're having the blokes week away over in Benidorm genuinely this time next week. So this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because I might not be able to do a stream or any content over the weekend because for obvious reasons. But it was good It's good preparation for the holiday, mate. Let me put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you might not be doing videos for a few days afterwards, needing to recover as well. I mean, I'm in work 9 a.m. the day after we fly back. Like.
Mate, I've got the Man City preview to put together on the next day. Genuinely, it's gonna be.
We're gonna happen. We're gonna meet up before the Man City game on the Sunday and just be like, yeah, yeah, that was something. That was Benidorm.
Yeah.
Or as I like to call it, Alicante Benidorm. But I'm going to Alicante Benidorm.
Yeah. Even there's a Spanish guy at work who we've kind of like half jokingly been testing me on my Spanish. So because you never know. I know that it's predominantly British where we're going, but you never know. It might be nice to say a little couple of things in Spanish. I'm not brilliant, so I'm not gonna say what I've learned so far, but it's not much. But yeah, so just have a Amaret.
Just got someone to say Pablo Fornells and just hope for the best.
That's not a bad shout, mate. To be fair, that really isn't a bad shout. But then I'm not sure if you can see it in the screen itself. No, you can't. You can just see a thumb.
Happy Hammeretta said hello. Yeah,
that's what it is. So yeah, for some stupid reason, Skype doesn't bring things through properly. But anyway, that's not a problem. Where are we? Hammer. She's also saying, "Have a nice holiday, chaps." Thank you very much. Bill's in the building. Hello, Bill. Hope you're all right, mate.
Oh God, he's joining for the holiday discussions, Phil. It's going to be the preview to Benidorm, let alone Man City.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. And Riley's in as well, one of the Patreons. Riley, thank you very much for joining, mate. Much appreciated. Right, so far we've got a week and a half before the season starts, as we're talking about, and we've got 6 weeks to the day. One of the reasons why I did it tonight specifically, it's 6 weeks to the day until the summer transfer window closes. Now, just as a recap, for those that haven't been paying attention, I'm sure loads of people have, but including one other signing that is an academy player, we've signed 4 players so far, and roughly halfway through the transfer window. So, as a recap, we originally signed, obviously technically the first one was Areola, even though it was announced after, but it was, we all saw that coming. Very, very good piece of business from West Ham from one point of view, in terms of the costing that was involved in it, and also for that matter, the length of his contract. But of course, that wasn't really announced until after the first proper signing of the transfer window was Naif Aguerd. So, who unfortunately, as the time of this broadcast last night, he seemed to pick up what looks like a swollen ankle, which is typical of West Ham, and the Rangers pre-season friendly defeat. So, but at the same point, of course, we've signed Downs as well, for that matter, a local boy who's a West Ham supporter through and through. He can play pretty much decent positions in midfield, and also as I say that under 21 kid as well. I can't remember his name, but Dennis, I'm sure you'll be able to let us know.
I can't remember the Irish boy.
That's the one. Yeah. So 4 signings in 6-7 weeks. We're not used to this, are we? We're not used to this.
Yeah, and also what I'd say is even with the young player, like, okay, how many young players have we signed that we go, oh, they're going to make it and they never do? But let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It looks a promising player. It's more promising than some young signings we've signed. I remember last summer we signed 2 young players that were like, oh yeah, they'll be a bit like the Europa League team, and never saw them in the history of ever. And then Oko Flex was kind of on the bench for a bit. Whereas this guy, he does come in with reputation. However, the other 3 signings, they all improve the team to an extent. Maybe not so much Downs. Again, Downs, not so much an improvement over Souček. I think they're 2 different players of similar ability or potential. And Souček looked like the Souček of old last night. I know it was only a pre-season friendly, but he looked fresh. But what I'm saying is these are the type of signings. If we just had this window compared to last window, where you signed Zuma, Areola on loan, and I'd argue Vlasic, if he'd been played in his proposition, would have been a much better signing.
Yep, agreed.
But that type of window is the type of window we clearly want. There's that slow progression. But the issue is we've lost a lot of bodies. if we'd kept hold of a couple of those bodies, just a couple of them,
Yep.
take your pick, I wouldn't be so concerned. But I still think we need to make at least 4 more signings,
Mm-hmm.
like minimum. And I'm not talking like they have to be the top quality, oh my God, be all and end all player, but just 4 signings, unless Moyes is really going to give you the chance. And with the exception of Coventry,
Mm.
I don't think anyone's going to really get too much of a look in. If we sign a Nana, I think Coventry goes out on loan, personally, or unless we sell Soucek, all if buts and maybes here.
Mm.
Um, there's talk very recently today, and again, he doesn't really excite people too much, but I think there should be a shrewd bit of business. Dwight McNeil for 10 to 15 million.
Yeah, Pete.
Saves a budget for other things. I wouldn't be against that signing. I think he's a decent player. Would I describe him as money? Probably not.
Peach and I have talked about this the other week when the story originally
Yeah.
broke. It wasn't a story; it was the paper talk and all the rest of it. I mean, he is a player.
Yeah.
We all know he's a player we've been looking at for a little while. But ignore his last season's stats: 1 assist and no goals. I mean, at the end of the day,
I tend to avoid stats. I
Yeah.
tend to look at what the player, what I see the player doing, because a lot of off the ball stuff won't be a statistic. If you look at just stats alone, I guarantee you'd say Ben Rama's a championship player, for example.
Mate, we're not having
Or
that conversation.
Fornells.
Just talking about the actual.
No, I'm just saying, like, for example, okay, championship players is an example, but like players like Fornells and Ben Rama do a lot more off the ball, even if their stats are good, that you wouldn't know through the statistics. Same with Mickey Antonio, you wouldn't until you see them play live, and you don't really appreciate them. And that's what I'd say with McNeil. I'd say it's a very risk-free signing because he ticks a few boxes, like he's homegrown. He's sub 15 million in this today's market is a pittance. When you look at 25 million on Vlasic, even if it was a Sullivan special with loads of installments, still 10 million less than him, and people were more than happy for us to sign Vlasic. I heard your comment earlier about Vlasic on a 10. In a 10, see, I've disappeared a little bit here on the screen.
Keep going. It's right. I'll sort it. Keep going. I'll sort it.
There we are. I'm back on the screen. Okay. Vlasic moving into a 10 would be a good backup option if we keep hold of, say, if you buy McNeil, then because you can probably have Ben Rama predominantly on the left, maybe Fornells. It's just more options, really. I mean, Yarmolenko was nowhere near good enough for the Premier League, but he provided us with at least cover for 2 positions.
Yeah, no, agreed.
We now need to buy that cover. And with the update from Lingard, which I'm at the stage, I just want it to be over. I don't care anymore.
Okay, but going back to the original question, Dennis.
Yes, sorry. Oh, God, the camera's got again.
Fine, I'll sort it out. Just stay where you're on. I'll get it sorted out.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the signings we've bought in so far? I mean, you touched on
sorry, I'd gone on a tangent. I'd already answered the question. I think they're good quality signings, the type of signings we need to make year in, year out. If we have a win, with the exception of this window, every year if we just sign 3 players and a youth player of that type of quality, satisfied. It's just we need more in this window, but very happy with them. Aguerd, hope his injury isn't too bad, but certainly looks really good alongside Zuma. Areola is going to be the long-term number 1, hopefully one of our youth keepers comes good, because the amount of times we have highly rated young keepers that never see the light of day, and because Fabs has only got a year, maybe 2 left in him, and Downs is going to give 100% for the club and does look the type of midfielder that we love looking at his championship highlights. So I'm happy with all of them, really.
Yeah. No, agreed. And Hammerette is saying, and I can see why she's saying this to a degree once it actually comes up. There you go. They aren't starting 11 signings though, with the exception of Areola and Aguerd. If he hadn't, Aguerd, I should say, if he hadn't picked up his injury yesterday, which Moyes has said it doesn't. He's hoping it inflamed so quickly that he's hoping it's not too bad. But we've heard that before. I would agree, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously the juniors are relevant because he's going in the under 21s, and you would say that Downs is going to be like Bowen was when he first came through. He's going to be slowly integrated in at some point. I mean, because at the end of the day, we the majority of the West Ham supporter base know fuck all about him. We absolutely know nothing about him, so we can't say what's going to happen.
I don't know a lot about him, but what I've seen, I've liked. The way I see him is coming on is a bit like how people would ask for us to bring on Noble to grind out the game, just with a lot more athletic ability and speed at the minute because of his youth. I can see him coming on to help us grind out games by sitting deep.
Yep. which I reckon's probably the longer term picture. Because bearing in mind, let's not forget, as West Ham supporters in general, we're used to short term prospects. We're used to short term signings. And it wasn't that long ago where we were appointing short term managers as well. I mean, Pellegrini for one. But at the same point, now Moyes is stabilising himself. I mean, it's still bonkers to think that we're into. He's only in since he came back. We're only really into his third season now. He feels like he's been here for a lot longer than that. The way the players have been playing in the last couple of seasons.
Doesn't help that his first full season back feel that season felt like it lasted forever.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
about
yeah.
you.
I mean that's
doesn't
one
help.
That's one of the
season
reasons. That's one of the reasons exactly.
Felt like that season felt like 2 seasons, man.
Well, technically it was because it stopped at one point, didn't it? Don't worry about the screen.
No, that's that. So I'm talking about the 2021 season where
that one,
the one where it was constantly behind closed doors, except for the final game, and it was just like it felt like that season felt like it lasted forever. I don't know why.
Well, no, you're right because we weren't there. I mean, we're all the channels were all doing our watch-alongs for it, and so it kind of made it even more segregated than we were already feeling because we weren't able to talk to everybody and all the rest of it. But at the same point, yeah, but you look at the way that the players have been playing. The season just gone, the season beforehand, it was just like you can see there's a big long-term project coming here, and for once we can actually we're all genuinely behind it. Well, there's always going to be a little section of the fan base that live on Twitter and think they know everything, but in general, it's all people that know what they're talking about, and because we're seeing it. Bob Claret, welcome, nice to see you. Bobby Singleton's back in the house. I'm sorry, apologies for earlier issues. As you can see, there's still a bit of a little jank. Just as I say it, as I was about to say, I thought everything was about sorted out, and now the camera zooms in and out all over the place. But we'll get that sorted out. Boom, there you go.
Jesus,
it's honestly, it's when I had Peach on, Peach and Tony the other week, we had no problems. So maybe because it's BT and it's middle of the week, that's probably what's doing it. But yeah, it's just it's a really really good way. And Emirates is saying Downs look brilliant. His passion is evident on the pitch. Aguerd looks the mutts nuts too. Bobby's saying Downs is a noble replacement, only better. I would agree with it. I would agree with it to a degree because there's a lot of passion going around at the minute, and people are getting way over excited with what's going on. But I do think I said in the preview when it was announced he was coming in. I said he's either a Souček or a Mark Noble replacement. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him as a Souček replacement. I would see Onana as a Souček replacement, and if you sign Onana, I wouldn't be surprised to see us cash in on Souček. I mean, it wasn't too long ago Bayern Munich were allegedly looking at him. I think that ship has sailed. So I wouldn't see him. I see him as sort of a long-term Noble replacement. Needs to be brought up to speed. He's got plenty of more potential in him. He's only 23, and he looks pretty quick, not so much like lightning quick. I mean, like
he looks faster than Noble did at that age, definitely.
Oh yeah. What I'm saying is when Noble came in, because Noble never really had pace.
Yeah.
His first touch and his ability to do a quality 8-yard pass was what put him on the map. But yes, it's slightly different qualities. But yeah, I'd see him more in the Noble sort of category. I don't see him replacing Souček personally.
Yeah.
But I've been wrong before.
No. It's you're totally right, mate. At the end of the day, we have absolutely no clue what's going to happen at the minute. We just don't know. We never know what's going to happen. For all we know, he could have a great season with us coming up, or he could have an absolutely shocking season with us. We just absolutely we've got no clue on it whatsoever. But that's the point. That's one of the reasons why it's such an interesting way to look at things, just because we're looking at players again that we haven't seen ever. So so we're all surmising left, right, and centre who's gonna be doing what. But it's all good. It's all good. And also for that matter, because obviously there's a lot of conversation recently about the way that the game has changed, and it was ironic that today marks the 30th anniversary of when the pass back rule to the goalie was taken away, as well. 30 years ago today.
There's one level of shithousery we'll never get back. Could you just imagine, like, nowadays, just watching the game and having people passing it back constantly? Like, the FIFA generation would do their nut.
Yeah. What's going on? What's going on? Why is he doing that? Why is he doing that? I mean, let's not forget. It was only a few years before that we only had one substitute as well, and then it went to 3, and now it's
you had
coming to 5.
was it that people announced as the Wembley substitute and things like
Yeah.
that? The generic, and no sub goalkeepers. If your goalkeeper got injured, he had to carry on.
Exactly. No, exactly right. Robert Singleton saying a bad worker always blames his tools. Rob, you know full well what goes on with this channel, so don't give me that. But he's also asking, can Downs take a penalty? Well, we don't know. I haven't seen any details.
No, I had no clue.
No one's got.
I mean, but if you look at our penalty takers, I mean, Rice is confident in taking a penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Bowen took the penalties for Hull when he played for them.
Yep.
Wouldn't say no to taking them. Mickey will probably have the confidence to take a penalty. Will he have the ability when push comes to shove? I'm not sure. I mean, he's 1 for 1 from my memory. He scored his one against United to give himself the bonus for 10 goals when he took it off Noble gave it to him. And then he missed his one against Newcastle that Soucek smashed in the rebound.
True, that's very true. But at the same point, you know, they're not native to it, so we have to give them a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
And talking about credit, I've just remembered I need to apologise to the Sunderland fan base when I said about called Sunderland accidentally called Sunderland Athletic Football Club. It's not. It's Association Football Club. You guys jumped straight on my back when I said that. So, but I'm old enough and ugly enough to admit when I made an error, and of course, yeah, that's fine. And there was a woman that did a comment this morning. She's totally right, because I said, you know, as you know, my dad's side of the family are all Mackhams from Sunderland, and I said in that video when we're talking about Elise, which we'll go on to and talk about in a second, hence the reason why we're talking about it now. Sunderland is part of the family, and I do have a soft spot for them, but yeah, I accidentally called them Athletic part instead of Association, and you can imagine with the way. Actually, to be fair, to the credit of the Sunderland supporters, they weren't too bad. They just told me I need to correct myself, so it's all good from that side of things. But yeah. So Dan, what did you think about Elise going to Sunderland?
I mean, initially I was quite disappointed because I did think I was what I saw from Elise, and when I saw him Europa League against Zagreb, I think he was the only young player that impressed me.
Yeah, because we were talking about him after the pub, weren't we?
Yeah, all the others were like, okay, like a big song and dance was made about how many academy players we played, but I don't think any of them played that well. Like, for example, I'm just going to put on record, I don't get the fuss about Sonny Perkins. I'll come back and bite me in the arse when he scores 10 for Leeds this season, but I don't. He looked good, but I don't get the absolute outrage about letting him go. Unless at first I was quite annoyed. For those reasons, but I thought about it and I was like, look, well, he had that one good run back to stop a goal against Ipswich, but realistically, what else had he done? I'm not too sure. Had he been given a fair crack at the whip in friendlies? Probably not. But when he went out on loan, I can't remember who he went out on loan to, but it was League Two, and I think he barely played for them. He went out on loan to someone. I can't remember who. I've got a feeling it's Oxford, but I could be wrong.
It might have been actually, because I know we've given them a few times.
We do like farming people out to Oxford, yeah. But I don't think he played that often. I hope he turns it round at Sunderland and goes and smashes it because they're in the Championship now, aren't they?
Yeah. It's the for me personally. Sorry to inject them, but for me personally, when I did the video about it, I said it's the perfect league for him. Absolutely perfect. As the old cliche of get his boots muddy, it's perfect. They are trying to make sure they get up again. Elise, as I said in the video, I understand why there was so much outcry, but I can also understand why the club did it at the same point, because I've seen him a few times. He's a natural centre back, left and right position. Can also play left back as well. If I remember correctly, for a good portion of that Europa League game, he was at left back quite a fair chunk. But also for that matter, it's just he's Genuinely, would he get in front of Dawson? Would he get in front of Zuma? Would he get in front of Diop? Would he get in front of... Do you know
Absolutely
what I mean?
not.
That's the
Yeah,
thinking
absolutely
behind
not.
it. That's the thinking of, and and a 25% sell-on clause and for future deals if he goes on and does has a career like Rio Ferdinand did when he left us and went to Leeds and then blah blah blah. We'd be in the money, mate. We really genuinely would be. But you never know what's gonna happen with him. So,
Yeah.
just to come back to the comments, we've got Spud in the chat as always. Welcome back, Brain. Hope you're keeping all right, mate. West Ham needs a striker that should be top of the list. We'll come on to that in just a minute. Hammer says, but surely if we get Onana in, then having 3 very good midfielders and young Downs would be what we need for all. Would be what we need for all these games. I don't want Souček to go. To be honest with you, I don't want him. I don't want him to go either. But I can kind of see with all the mumblings that are going on about his contract conversation, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we do sell him in the next couple of windows. What do you reckon, Dan? If as it stands at the minute.
Yeah, I mean it wouldn't surprise me. And also then it's a case of right. So you got 4 good centre midfielders, 3 are definitely good enough to start, and 1 needs some form of development. How do you keep all of those happy, even with the amount of games you had last year?
Yep.
I know people will go, oh yeah, but Noble wasn't good enough. But Moyes still played his 2 central midfielders. Moyes did not play Vlasic, no matter how knackered Benrahma was, and allegedly he didn't really trust Benrahma. So it's not a case of not trusting.
It's fine. Don't stay where you were.
Right,
stay where you were.
But I'm saying it's not really a case of not trusting Benrahma. Vlasic there, because he allegedly doesn't trust Benrahma either. It's a case of Moyes. We noticed this in his first full season. Moyes has an 11 and just assumes that they can play the entire 90 minutes.
Yep.
So game time's going to be here or there if we get 4 midfielders, let alone 3. That's why I'm seeing Souček going. I would love there to be a way that we can make it all fit. And also, we're talking like we're definitely going to sign an Onana. I mean, my honest opinion, to parrot what X has said, I do think that they're trying to drive the price up. So rather than the player backering us, the club are backering us. They want Liverpool. As soon as we have a bid accepted, I guarantee Liverpool will go in and just steamroll it.
Very possible. Very, very, very possible. Just catching up with the chat. Onana is versatile, which we know Moyes loves, where he also plays centre back, and we may need a centre back sooner rather than later. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that at the minute, especially with Lingard getting that little bit of an injury. Hammer saying to the Spud, I know, but with Oggy not fit enough, Dawes some kind of niggle, and Aguerd could be out for a while. We're missing the back line too. That's a good point, actually, Dawson, because there's been a lot of talk about him, especially back in January when there was talk about he wanted to go back up north to help be with his family and more prominent. And now, obviously, of course, he had that pre-season training niggle that he should be alright for City from what I'm understanding, what I'm all seeing. But yeah, that's a good point though, mate. What happens if Aguerd is struggling to start the beginning of the season, and Dawson's having a bit of an issue and all?
No idea, really. I mean, we're going to have to play the clown.
And for context,
complete with entrance to the Gladiators music as well. Diop is who I'm referring to as the clown. Because he does have, not only is he a clown in his head, he has clown shoes when he plays.
Yeah, he has descended pretty quickly, mate. I'm not gonna disagree with him.
He had such a promising first season, and then just decided to switch his brain off. I don't understand it.
Yeah, but at the same point, you could argue the reason being is because we got better centre backs in when that happened.
Possibly.
So again, it's that confidence thing, as it always is with it. So we've got another interloper, Russ, Arsenal supporter. Welcome, mate.
Oh Jesus Christ!
he's been around on the channel a little while, and he loves you too, mate. So please don't make Dennis's face any bigger.
No, I don't want that neither, to be fair.
James Bolton, welcome, mate. Nice to see you. Even when our all our centre backs were fucked. Moyes didn't play Lizzie. Just tells you all you need to know about him. That's a good point.
That was pretty much my rationale.
Yeah.
Really, when I'd taken a step back to think about it. But first, I mean, what annoys me once again is just low transfer fee, no buyback clause in case he does come good. There's a sell-on fee, but realistically, how much are they going to sell him for?
You never know, mate.
If he doesn't,
you never know. If for example, if Sunderland have a couple of seasons in the Championship and he's one of their better players, he could be going for 15, 20 million. He really could. You think about the amount of money that we spent on Bowen a couple of years ago, and also for that matter, the progression of prices. I know, for example, at the minute, because of all the financial troubles that all clubs are having, for in various guises, like for example, Raheem Sterling going for 40 million to, or was it 45 million to Chelsea, and what's his name, Mane leaving Liverpool for around about 35 million. The prices are starting to come down again, but it's going to only increase, and I reckon that's going to, when Sunderland are going to try and cash in again, like Swansea are trying to do.
Maybe. I mean, also then what I would say is Liverpool decided to buy the was it Uruguayan? Was he Paraguayan? The player they signed, the Darwin Núñez.
It was Uruguay, I think. Something like
Uruguay and Andy Carroll. Uruguay and Andy Carroll. There we are. That'll age well when it turns out his pre-season form is actually just him being knackered, and actually his quality when he scores 4 goals against us at London Stadium on birthday.
Yeah.
This clip will be played up about that. But yeah.
Talking about a comparable Andy Carroll said, and interloper my arse, we're going to win the league. We have Jesus, says Russ. No, he is. He's a quality player. That Jesus. I just think he's going to be a bit more. I think there's a little bit too much more talk around him at the minute, because he's a very, very good player. But at this, for God's sake, with just the way that.
No,
I know you are. Yeah, get back to your side, boy. Get back to your side. But yeah, no, it's Jesus is a very, very good player, and it's just, again, it's a sign of the times that Man City are getting rid of what players that used to be their best players 2 or 3 seasons ago and selling them for a decent amount. But again, that's the way football rumbles, isn't it?
But then, they've just bought Haaland for like 100 odd million, haven't they? Or near enough.
So they're trying to make their money back by. I wouldn't be at all surprised if another couple of players go for 20, 25 million each, and then that's it. That's the money recouped.
That's why, because there's talk of Chelsea near enough finalising that centre back that they've been after for a while. But his name begins with K. Plays for Atletico or someone like that.
No idea, mate. No idea.
I'm struggling to remember, but it's like anyway. So it's like, well, are they then going to cash in by selling Brozier possibly? Because I'm not looking into trying to go into a different sort of really people going, oh, well, we're not going to get Brozier because Tuchel wants to keep hold of him. I'm like, well, what manager's going to go, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll sell him to West Ham. Yeah, West Ham, I want to sell him. Lowball me. It's just a way to get an extra 5-10 million out of us.
Of course, yeah, of course it is. And at the same point, let's not forget that technically he's still a junior at the same time. So of course they're going to ask for as much money as they can possibly get. We try and do it whenever we get the opportunity. So we can't criticise other clubs.
I mean, historically we've been. I think Haller's the only player we've signed it got a significant fee for when selling since Payet.
Pretty much, mate. Yeah.
Even then, we lost. Depending on who you believe, we lost a couple of million, or we lost 20 million, depending on who you believe. Because obviously there were loads of reports out there that actually it was what you call hard money, which is like money up front, then installments.
Yeah.
We signed Haller for about 25, 26 million, and the rest was just ludicrous add-ons, including him scoring 20 goals in his first season. And other people saying, no, it was 40 million of hard money, but it was in installments, which means then, okay, we lost 20 million on him. Whereas if you believe other people, we only lost a couple of million because he didn't hit his bonuses that we didn't owe them.
Exactly.
So it's like, but other than Haller and Payet, I'm struggling to think of when we've sold a player for a fair price since Bellamy. And even then, that was a bloody rare. Because I remember we sold Benayoun for like half his market value because he
First
I
time
think
round because he was released second time round, wasn't he? If I remember right.
no, it was only on loan second time round.
That's right. Sorry, yeah.
First time round we sold him for 5 mil, but I
Mm.
reckon in that market, if Kieran Dyer's 8 million, he was worth 10.
Absolutely agree with you, mate. Bill makes a very, very good point. When the computer decides to print it, there you go. Not all youngsters are going to make the first team. That's the reality of it. Elliot Lee, for example, ripped it up for the reserves in the under-23s, but he wasn't first team quality. Absolutely agree with you. And as Hammer is saying here, Elise scored. Then we sold him. Could have Vlasic be next after his goal? It's pre-season. It doesn't matter what the kid did. But you're right. It's Vlasic is a bone of contention, and we'll talk about it again because we were talking about it earlier. But it's obviously that conversation's coming around again. Vlasic for me is my disappointment of last season because I genuinely, I've been a lot of us, Dennis, we've had this conversation quite a few times with Bill and Charles and that. I was generally saying that Vlasic was going to have a Fornells type season for his first season, and he just didn't kick on. What do you reckon the reason was before that?
Not getting enough game time. And when he did play, he got played monstrously out of position because he's not a winger.
Yep.
He's a second striker. He played as a second striker for the Croatian team he was at. Really impressed Everton enough to sign him off the back of his performance against them. And they didn't even scout him, just how he played. And then was like a striker at Everton, like fourth choice. And he's never really been a winger. And that's why it always shocked me that he was brought on wide left or wide right. He's had a couple of good games. He had I didn't watch it, but apparently he was amazing against Southampton, the game we lost at home. Apparently he was brilliant.
That was the only game I missed that season, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was in Scotland. I didn't even watch. We had it on. We had the score like the BBC Scotland version of Gillette Soccer Saturday. Like that's what we had on.
Oh, this system. Keep going.
But I'm saying that. So it disappointed me, but I don't think it's his fault necessarily. Also, not so much Moyes' fault. It was a case of, well, I need another attacking player, and I can't prize Lingard away from United. Because again, it goes back to putting all the eggs in the Lingard basket. We did it last summer to an extent, and then bought a player that Moyes may not have necessarily wanted, which is a shame.
Well, the Vlasic thing was because, the Lingard deal went tits up, as it is again by the looks of things. Vlasic can play in every position that Lingard can do. That's the reason why it went through. I do feel really sorry for him, but again, it's one of those sort of you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't type situations because he was never going to get. Like you said, mate. He never got the right amount of game time to prove himself, but he wasn't getting the game time because he wasn't proving himself. So it's the catch-22.
I mean, tell a lie. He had the other good game he had, which I did watch, although it's not exactly world-class opposition or Premier League class opposition. But when we had Rapid Vienna away, he was really good. I'm pretty certain he got both assists. I think he won the penalty, and I know he got the assist for Yarmolenko, and I think he won the penalty. But he was really good on the left that day for us. But it was in an empty stadium against a struggling Rapid Vienna side.
That's putting it mildly, mate. To be honest with you, just going back to the chat because this is quite relevant to what the other topic I wanted to talk about. Lee James 40, welcome, mate. Looks like Andy Carroll then for a second. I thought it was him. Thought we was going for Sarr at Watford. Wait, not heard much since. Reckon we probably leave it till last day. Like always. Don't go to bed, David Gold. Right. I know you're itching to say this because we've been talking about it a little time. So come on, give us your ex-Watford employee style conversation about it.
No, well, ex-audit employees. I'm not going to call him out, but the Twitter account. This is not who I'm talking about. It's a friend of very, 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 very close friend of mine. Her dad was like the chief scout at Watford for a very long time, and she's worked at Watford Football Club. So if you watch Dream Team, she was basically Nicky Peggs.
Right.
She was the team administrator, so she would like make sure their passports were all correct when going like for pre-season friendlies overseas, and sometimes she'd go to away games and have to basically make sure the players behaved themselves and things like that. Anyway, but basically she knows quite a bit, and so does her dad, about what still goes on at Watford. Now we're not talking like X levels of accuracy here, just they get told a few things. And that I was at a barbecue with them, and they were saying that basically they reckon Sarr to West Ham would happen. It's just Watford would want most of the money up front, which is kind of not our style. But the longer it goes on in the window, the less Watford would accept, because they need to raise £40 million to fund the signings of their new manager, because they're doing a new ethos because of backlash from fans, and basically the new Watford manager, Rob Edwards, who's got a lot of potential, was a pretty decent footballer, really. He used to play football, he's had a good career, and he's basically got a 2-year project because he wants to build a team that is not only good enough to go up, but good enough to stay up and have an actual brand of football. Because Watford have never had a brand of football since Graham Taylor.
Yeah, I was going to say, since at least Elton John properly owned them. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Graham Taylor round too. I mean, that's a bit harsh. Boothroyd, they had a brand of football then that was just lump it up to Henderson, he'll knock it onto King or Young, and then hope for the best. That was basically AD Boothroyd's tactic to get Watford promoted. It was brilliant. But yeah, so I'm confident that if we want Sarr, we'll get him, because Watford need to raise revenue, and their best way of doing that is selling Sarr and Dennis.
Yep. Not you, by the way.
No, Emmanuel Dennis, who I would not want anywhere near West Ham United, because he's just one of the laziest strikers I've seen. I've seen Watford play twice this season, and
this season hasn't started yet, mate. You mean last season?
Well, season gone. I watched the play, and I could count the runs he made on one hand in both games. He scored in one of them, which says it all.
Yeah, well, exactly, mate.
He turns up for 5 minutes. Turns up for 5 minutes, scores, and then he's like, "All right, I've scored," or get himself sent off. If people get infuriated by Antonio, they will chase Emmanuel Dennis out of the stadium.
It's a good point, mate.
With the wastefulness as well. Like with Mickey, he needs as we see before, he needs quite a few chances to get a goal. He always has done. It's not a knock on him. It's just his shooting accuracy has never been fantastic.
Yep. Well, it's Bobby Zamora Mark II, isn't he? From that point of view.
Yeah, when you're sitting Rosette and the ball hits your head.
Antonio.
Yeah. Although he finally scored that one against Brighton. That goal he's been going for about 4 years.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, mate. But one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that Sarr deal was because of what we all were thinking, and what I said when I did the roundup at the January transfer window is, don't believe £50 million bids in January, because they're bollocks. And we've been proven right. Calvin Phillips, where's he gone? Man City. Rafinha, where's he gone? Barcelona. It was fan service. Just to say, yeah, we're trying to do everything we can. So therefore, we're going to give Leeds 50 million for
Simon Jordan had their number on it. Like, so what you like about Simon Jordan, he can be a prick, but he knows what he's talking about.
And he's got history with Sullivan, which makes it even more entertaining at the best of times. But at the same point, I mean, there's a lot of times when I'm sitting there, and and you know me, mate, I very, very rarely, if ever, listen to TalkSport. But if Simon Jordan is interviewing somebody, when it comes up on the YouTube channel, I listen to it. Yeah, because obviously last summer we were listening to the conversation of from those idiots that were trying to buy the club, and Simon Jordan just absolutely tore into whatever his name was, and I thought, you know what, mate, I really don't like you, but I respect you for what you're saying, because he's gone hammer and tong, shall we say, and yeah, he's very, very good at it. But as I said, it's just when there's a bid of £50 million in January, just totally ignore him, ignore it. It's just we're doing everything we can. Sullivan's bollocks mantra of just like, yeah, let's throw money at the problem, and
it's still not the worst January transfer bid we allegedly made when we tried to get Fernando Torres and Tevez on loan in 11-12 season.
I forgot about that.
And could you imagine if one of those happened?
That would have been quite good.
Seriously,
that would have been good. But
Fernando Torres in the Championship on loan for, because let's say 1 month loan, we'll get him scoring again. Just give him to us for a month on loan, and because I think we were down to just John Carew at that point.
Yes, we were.
Yes. I think Colton Cole had a knock or a suspension. Yeah. Baldock had a hamstring injury, and we hadn't signed Maynard and Vazte, because I think Piquion was injured. Piquion had a long injury in the Championship.
And
my boy.
Coming around back to it, Lee put this up a little while ago when we were talking about signing players, Elise being in the Championship. Players from the Championship have done well for us, always worth a gamble. And Elk the Hammer said Championship players are hungrier than the mercenaries. Absolutely agree with you, mate. Completely spot on, 100%. And apologies, guys. At least this hasn't crashed again like it did about 40 minutes ago, but it's still getting on my Hamptons. It really is. But anyway, yeah. So as I say, it's just the fact that we've got 6 weeks left of the transfer window. There's the usual sort of bollocks popping around here and there that we're doing. I didn't really want to talk about it, but I think it's probably the right time to do it because obviously there's a lot of stuff coming out about Jesse Lingard this week. What are your thoughts on this fella?
Oh god! Well, I'm going to piss off a lot of people, on both sides of the argument. First of all,
nothing new there. Then
I don't understand why we're still talking about it. The guy was out of contract at the end of the year, right? I don't care. I know. I do care. I know there's player power, and I understand and appreciate the people arguing that he's got to look after his own interests. You know what? Fair play to the guy. Let him do that. But from a West Ham point of view, we've been led round the nose here for about a year. He sat on the bench. He may have been promised things by United club, but I think in his heart of hearts, he probably, when they signed Ronaldo, I think he probably knew, yeah, about that. I'm now the fourth choice everything. And then Greenwood, what happened with Greenwood happened in January, and I think that scuppered any slim chance of in January. So I'm not going to fault.
Yeah, we were talking about it at the time. If that hadn't happened, then we probably would have been able to get him.
There was a chance. They're like, so I'm not going to fault the club for going into him. Like, there's lots of people going, "Oh, Moyes, 3 windows." Last 2 windows, no. Moyes was in his right to go for him, and one reason or another, it didn't happen. You know, if you put in a transfer request, maybe it happened, but you know, ultimately, United would have put a valuation on him because you know we were a European club. I wouldn't say a rival, but like, towards the end of the season, but not from last summer. Anyway. The problem is now is he's been out of contract. He knows his contract running up. He knows he's not getting a new deal. He knows he's leaving. If he really wanted to come to West Ham, he would have signed. Even if our first offer was derisory, he would have turned around and said, "Right, I want this. I need this because it's like my last sort of deal." Even if there was talk of him, he wanted to explore what options there are in Italy because he's always wanted to play abroad. I understand that, and fair enough. And then consider the West Ham option. If nothing comes from Italy or wherever else he was looking, negotiate the West Ham offer. Don't leave it a full month and then be like, I want you to come back with a better offer by Friday or I'm going elsewhere. That is not the type of player we want. We've said this for a long time. We don't want those type of players here. But yet there are fans out there on Twitter slagging off the club for not bowing down to his demands. I don't get it. Do you really want someone that just wants to be here for 200 grand a week that hasn't got the incentive or the stakes that were at his loan last time? Where he had to succeed because he had to prove a point. Now he doesn't have to prove that point. He's like, okay, look, I can turn it on. And also, even if he tries everything in his power, lightning doesn't always strike twice. You know, like, is a throwback for you, JP. No disrespect to the fella. He was always a good player for us. But Don Hutchison was nowhere near as good in his second stint as he was his first.
Yeah, the only one that really springs to mind was Tony Cottee.
Oh, yeah, Tony
That's
Cottee.
What I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's
the only one that springs to mind when we've had him back. I mean, Ben Ayoun to a degree on that loan, but in general,
Ben Ayoun only played 6 games for us in that loan.
But
he's not a fair comparison.
That's the point. Is the fact that. Yeah, I mean it's always grass is greener, and you know people just can't let go when it comes for a lot of things.
Yeah, and it's like this is what I don't get. Although I'm like I'm not sit there and just gonna like call Lingard every name under the sun. It's a prerogative if he wants to go do that. If he wants to go sign for Forest for 200 grand a week or 180 grand a week, let him do it. It's his decision. It's his life. It's his future. I'm not exactly happy with it, and it's kind of what I've been saying for the last couple of weeks. Of like I'm not. You know, it's not so much like one of our friends like saying and putting out a really good point that why are people too bothered about 180 grand a week when you can sign a player for 35 million on 100 grand a week? It works out near enough the same. That is a good point. But for me, it's the principle of He was on rumored to be 100 grand a week at United.
You're not that far off it.
Like,
120, 130, something like that.
yeah, but it's like, okay, so you want a large pay increase when you don't have a job at the minute. If you look at
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and you're not necessarily desperate for the money
Mm-hmm.
either. I'm all about, securing your
Mm.
future. Do we really want a player that's like, oh yeah, you helped me, I helped you? He doesn't really owe us anything. I'm not saying he owes
No.
us stuff, but do you really want a player that's like, okay, I'll sign for you if you make me earn more than twice what Declan Rice and Jared Bowen
Mm.
are earning? And then Jared Bowen's going to be like, well, hang on, I was your breakout star last year. I was last year's Lingard. Where's my 180 grand a
And
week?
also for that,
And then Declan Rice is
yeah,
like, well, hang
that's
on a minute. You're putting a
yeah.
150 million price grab
Mm.
on me. Where's my 150 grand a week? Where's my 180
Mm.
grand a week?
And also,
That is why I think it'd be ludicrous to give Lingard what he wants.
for that matter, on the Rice subject as well, because obviously the rumours are that he wants proper signings coming in. Then he'll go, oh great, we've got Lingard, but why are you paying him more than me? Do you know what I mean? It just makes no sense, and that's the whole reason why I've said right from the start that he needs to go anywhere for the football, not for the money. And I 100% back the club's approach on this. It's like because
Yeah,
apparently as X said the other day, they offered him a decent wage plus bonuses to get him up around about the wages that he was asking for, and he didn't even do that. He wasn't even happy with that. So you don't going
it's
back to the
ridiculous.
mercenary stuff we were talking about earlier, mate. This is the problem. It's he's, so I reckon to a degree. You're right. He's only got a few years left in him, so this is one of the reasons why he's doing it. But he doesn't need it. He's got enough sidelines going on to keep himself sweet and his family sweet for generations. But at the same point, he needs to remember that the only reason why he got that England call up was because of his loan with us, and that's
Mm.
and yeah. So I'm not bothered if we sign him, great. If we
We
don't,
say this. We say this. He'll definitely score the winner
of
when
course,
we play Forest at
100%,
the
yeah,
City Ground,
100%. Of course he will.
and do some like TikTok like dance, like TikTok Fortnite dance or whatever it is he's doing.
But yeah, so there are actually two hammers in the chat that have Spurs living in their head rent free at the minute. One of them's just come in as one of them's here at TSC saying I don't. He's a good guy, but he doesn't understand things sometimes. I don't get why we are so slow at transfers. Spurs have signed like 8 players already, and our resident Spud has done it. Spurs are in the Champions League. It's a different market. 100% agree. That's the reason. We've I just don't get the comparison. The two clubs aren't the same. We're not the same. We're not the same as Spurs anymore. You know that they are leaps and bounds ahead. As much as we don't want to admit it, they are, and therefore we can't be too bothered about them. But yep, the other and the other one knows I'm talking about her because she's just put those two emojis up at the same point. But because I was winding up about that the other literally it's like earlier today was just like, well, Spurs is Spurs. They're they're trying to tie. They're top 4 contenders. We're top 6 contenders. I hate to say it because I don't give a shit about Spurs and I don't like them.
And I'm not looking to disrespect anyone at the club, but also they got that Antonio Conte pull that not too many managers have. Like he does have that aura about him. He is a proven winner, and I hate saying this, but from where they were, like him to come in and get top 4 comfortably with Spurs was a decent achievement. I'd say probably harder than winning the league with Chelsea that year because Chelsea were always going to win the league that year. But yeah, it is what
Here
it
he
is
goes.
when it comes to that. And
see, this is what I'm talking about. I knew she'd pipe up with something like this. Come on. No, we don't bottle. We don't bottle our games, and our manager doesn't cry like a biatch.
Wait, are we talking about Liverpool or Tottenham?
Well, Liverpool. Both.
Well, Liverpool don't bottle as often anymore,
yeah,
but yeah, Jurgen Klopp does love a dry your eyes white moment.
That's a good point actually, then, mate. That is Klopp and Conte are roughly the same person nowadays. They really, really, really are now. You know, because at the end of the day, mate, the club's target is to sustain that Europa League. You know, we're qualifying for the second season in a row. Sorry, third season in a row properly. If you think about it, and it's just it's absolutely really good times. We're slowly getting that. I mean, yes, okay, we finished sixth in the first season, and then second. In the second season it was seventh, but at the same point, we're already getting rid of the gruff again, and hopefully bringing in. And as you said earlier, mate, I totally agree with you. We need at least 4 or 5 more players. So going back to what Brain was saying, I know this is going to be a massive cliche, but what are the positions you want to hopefully we'll bring in within the next 6 weeks?
At least one
Mm-hmm.
striker,
Mm-hmm.
one more player to cover wings, or specifically the right wing, because we've only got Bowen and Antonio really for the right wing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, number 10, you could argue you got Lanzini, Fornells, and Vlasic there, and even Ben Rama can go in number 10. Out left, you've got Fornells, Ben Rama, and Vlasic playing there for some bizarre reason. But right wing, we definitely need someone that can come in and do that. This is where I'm looking at Sarr, who can play on both wings. Yep. And then the fourth one would either be a second striker or a midfielder like Onana. So not a midfielder for the sake of a midfielder, because I think if Coventry gets enough game time, provided we're good with injuries, our centre mid's going to be okay for the year.
We'll come back to that, but go on.
But let's say Coventry gets, rotated in for some Europa Conference games and things like that, alongside Downs. There's 4 midfielders that could play, or 3 midfielders that could play Premier League games, and another midfielder who could play League Cup games and some of the more poxy Europa Conference games, because we're going to get someone absolutely dog shite in our group that's going to be really funny, especially when we draw 0-0 away and everyone has a meltdown. So that's why I would say that 2 strikers, unless it's a midfielder of the quality of Onana, I'd say the 4th signing would be a second striker.
Absolutely. So guys, come on in the chat while we're talking about it, and if you're watching this replay, apologies for the fuck up at the start of it. But yeah, give us the positions you want. And to be honest with you, mate, I reckon most of them are going to be saying the same thing. Really will, because at the end of the day, this is the first transfer window we can confidently say we don't need a right back for one. That's always been the first on the agenda. Is always been right back, then striker.
Was it? But going back to one of our retro things we did the West Ham way, I was saying from Glenn Johnson until Neil, we didn't really have a proper right back at West Ham. It was ridiculous, wasn't it? For a good 4 seasons, we had it shoehorned, and even then, until we got Zabaleta, we really struggled at right back after Neil left. Faubert had 1 good season there. Don't tell Charles, but Lars Jakobsen played there for a year and was so poor we started playing Tompkins there.
Oh come on, that's a bit harsh, man. I know why you're saying it.
No. Also, do you remember Winston Reid started as a right back because he played there for New Zealand because of an injury, and that's how little we knew about him. We signed him as a right back.
Mate, we signed Dan. We
gave him the number 2 shirt. We gave him the number 2 shirt because we thought he was a right back.
We signed D'Antonio as a right back, and look where that went.
Nah, we didn't sign him as a right back because he was a centre forward for Forest. People don't realise that. We started playing him on the wing, but he played as a centre forward for Forest.
Yeah, but even he says not bad for a right back with his goal tally.
Yeah. Well, my other favourite thing with the Reed signing was how they proper hyped it up. They were like, West Ham. This is when Sullivan decided, you know what, I'm going to tell the fan, I'm going to be the owner that the fans like because I'm going to tell them what's going on. He did some press because we're about a match to sign in 2 days' time. He scored at this year's World Cup. I think he's going to really excite people. He's going to be what we need. He's a young, wise investment from a league you might not be too familiar with. And it was, who's it going to be? And people were talking, looking at these random South American strikers, who played well. Was it Shalaba from South Africa? No, it was Winston Reid. And everyone was like, what?
Spot on, Bill. Arbeloa at right back as well. Do you remember the midfielder?
Yeah, Arbeloa. We had Cole Jenkinson that had 1 good year, but then was absolutely dog shite the year after. God, we had some terrible. Sam Byram, who people will blame injuries, but he never really.
I blame his love of a yellow card more than anything else, mate. To be fair. I really do.
But
But Bobby, come on, mate, come on. You can think about it a bit better than that. 3 signings and 3 loans. I said positions. But yeah, I mean this is the thing. It's my go-tos is definitely. I mean, 'cause we got the goalkeeper situation sorted, which is fantastic. We've got the right back situation sorted, which is fantastic. We're practically there with the centre backs. Left back, 100% is definitely a mid to high priority. A proper defensive midfielder as well, which possibly Downs can do because he can play attacking centre and defensive midfield. Also, for that matter, we've got the issues are the left hand side. Quite frankly, the issues are definitely the left hand side because let's not forget we've had Lanzini as who's a number 10, and we've had him as a left winger for quite a few seasons. We've tried it many times with a lot of midfielders. It just doesn't work. I mean, if I remember correctly, didn't we have Collins Collinson at right back, right wing at one point, didn't we? Jack Collinson for a couple of games.
Jack Collison played right wing quite a bit for us. In fact, he played left wing for a little bit with Zola, with Stanislas on the right, and he swapped around. And then under Everton Grant, we were playing him as a right winger. Not Everton, sorry, Allardyce, because he only played a few games under Grant. Under Allardyce, played him as a right winger. I think Noble played on the right wing in Allardyce's first season as well, in which he said he's just happy to play anywhere, was what he said.
But yeah, I agree with what Hammerett was saying earlier. Is put Antonio back on the right wing and have it. And I said in January, the January that we sold Allaire, I said we needed 2 strikers already before we sold him. So I personally want 2 strikers, and as you say, mate, a second striker or an attacking midfielder that can jump into that sort of role. But
even if the second striker isn't exactly a long-term option, like let's say we get Brozier and there's someone else that you'll do for now. You know, I'm not saying someone for the sake of it, but you know what I mean? A player, okay, yeah, they're a good player. They bring us another dimension. Let's give him a 3-year contract and look to sell him off in the second year, sort of time.
Yeah.
You know, maybe a Ben Brereton Diaz if we can get him cheap enough from Blackburn. Someone we link with that isn't going to set the world alight. Equally, Sarr could possibly do a job up front. Moyes could do his magic on him and turn him into a centre forward because he's got the pace. Who knows? But for me, it'd be Brozier. The fantasy world would be Brozier, and I'm gonna absolutely butcher it. But Scaramanga or Scaramanga, there's a striker with the golden gun. You know, Scaramanga. Bond fans out there will get that reference. That would be ideal, even if it's a case of Brozier's a loan with an obligation to buy, as long as it's a set price. Because if he's good, Chelsea will try and raise the price up. That might be a scenario that we could find ourselves in, but like depending on who you believe, Chelsea are ruling out a loan or saying it's only a loan. Like I think Fabrizio Romano said that Chelsea have ruled out a loan, but ultimately, if we're going to sign Brozier's going to have to force a deal. It's similar situation to Lingard last year. Just the difference is it sounds like because apparently we had things set to sign him in January, but something embarrassing happened. I don't know what it is. No one's. I haven't heard. The person that is saying this said that for this they're saying that this isn't true. What people are saying that when they say that it's the fact that we thought that we could sign him, but it turns out that he can't play for 3 teams in one season because he didn't actually play for Chelsea. So that's not true. So.
But he was on the bench though, wasn't he? So technically, he would have been.
Maybe I don't know, but in any event, it's.
But anyway, so Centurion is asking both of us when the computer decides to do it. Thoughts on Adama Traore, mate?
Very quick. I've never really got the hype though. He's quick, so he looked really good against us because we don't really do well against quick players. But he's like a bull in a china shop, literally. So I've never quite understood it.
No, I agree.
Like people saying, it's not like Antonio at all. He's bigger, he's stronger and quicker, but he's not got Antonio's eye for goal, in my opinion.
No, agreed. 6 years ago, would have taken him absolutely hands down, but not now. Not now. I know, obviously, because he was he went back to Barcelona. I know he was on loan, but did he actually go back properly now?
No, he went down. He only went on
Yeah.
loan.
But I mean, just for me, no. 7 seasons back, yes, but not now. He's coming to the peak of his abilities from that point of view. But yeah, I'm just it's not for me, not for me. Unfortunately anymore, because he's a quality player. But I absolutely agree with you, mate. I just don't get the hype in any shape.
I just don't. I don't understand why people insist on he should sign him. So
no, agreed.
Yeah.
Brain's asking, what would it take for West Ham fans to be calling Moyes out? Is he under the cosh this season? No.
If we don't beat City opening game of the season, I tell you what, pressure's on. And if we don't win the Champions League, I don't know. I don't know. They might need to make a call to Lee Bowyer to see if he'll take the job.
But yeah, no, I just don't. It's ridiculous when I know what my brain's saying it, because a lot of people are saying he's differing Dave, blah blah blah. Especially with this Lingard stuff, in which we've already gone over. It's the fact that it's got nothing to do with Moyes. He's the one that Lingard's the one that causing all these delays in it. That's the whole point. Where are we? Hamlet is saying that left back at Norwich wouldn't be expensive and looks decent. Yeah, don't know how you pronounce that, but yeah, more than likely probably spelled differently, Dunham. But is it Genealocus, or that sounds more like a dinosaur breed? But
well, it's like we keep getting linked with this Raum guy in Germany, but I'm like, I don't see us spending £33 million on a player like that. I can see it for Onana, but I just can't see it for a left back personally. It's not in our DNA, you know. Masuaku is our most expensive fullback ever.
It's true.
He cost us £6 million.
That's a good point.
We haven't spent £6 million on a fullback ever.
Yeah.
Like what? Tyrone Mears was 1 million. Pantsil was 1 million. Lucas Neal was like 2-3 million. McCartney first time round was 3 million. Second time was a 3. Alunga was like 3-4 million. Kufau was 3.5 million in Sullivan special installments as well.
That's very true.
Cresswell was same price, but that was, nearly 10 years ago now, different money. So yeah, Masuaku is our most expensive ever fullback. Just let that sink in, guys.
God. Oh, Dennis, come on.
We've never spent more than £6 million on a fullback. I mean, we're not. Are we really going to spend £33 million on a left back? People mostly know from Football Manager. Like, probably not. I'm thinking it probably would be class for us. Don't get me wrong, but I can definitely see, what we call him, that Hickey guy's gone to Brentford. Do you reckon Moyes might go back in for their left back that we were looking at for a long time? His name escapes me now.
He's 20. Is it 22, 23 years
old?
Henry, wasn't it? Henry, yeah. He's about 22, 23 years old.
Apparently, the rumour was Moyes turned him down because he was only 5'7", because he was more comfortable with Cresswell, who is 5'7".
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Like that. So I'm like, that can't be the reason, because they're the same fucking height. So it can't be that he's too short, because they are the same height.
Emirates asking, Raum would be immense, but would he come?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he'd come to us, and also I don't think we're going to pay. You know what? Yeah, we've got this bidding for Onana. We're looking at Scaramanga. We're looking at Brozier. Let's just put another 33 million for Raum and just make this a £200 million window. That is not going to happen.
And Elk's coming back and saying, is our left winger, is Masuaku. 100% agree with you. And it scares the piss out of me, still to this day, that of all of those signings in our first season at the London Stadium, Masuaku is the one that remained.
Yeah, should have been Kaleri.
Faguli for me, mate. I absolutely loved him. I think it was a quality role.
Johnny Kaleri, my boy.
This is a good point from Centuri, going back to the question about Moyes being under the cosh. Moyes is good until having to respond to a situation. Making quick changes is not his forte.
Never has been.
Exactly.
Going back to Everton days, never was.
Exactly.
He has a plan. He has a plan A, not a plan B. But when have we ever had a manager with a plan B?
No, precisely right, mate. Precisely right.
Bilic Achilles heel. Pellegrini's Achilles heel. Less said about Sam Allardyce, the better. I mean, Jesus H. Christ. Like, it's like what it was. It's like that bit in the bloody Simpsons, right?
Mm.
Where Homer has got the kids' menu and he's trying to do the little
Oh,
how do I escape
the
thing like
maze,
that, and he always ends up the
yeah,
crocodile.
yeah,
Yeah. And he gets the crocodile
yeah.
again, wraps it back up, and then the waitress goes, "Another one, sir? Yes, please." And it's like that was watching Allardyce
Yeah.
in that 14-15 season. Like, I even actually made a meme of that in this Simpsons football posting group. Like, yeah, that was Allardyce. And what before Allardyce? Okay, what's Dennis like after a few
You'll
beers?
find out in
Asleep.
a couple of weeks, mate. Because I'm taking my GoPro with us when we go over to Benidorm, and so you'll find out in a couple of weeks.
Asleep. That's what I'm. Was it the Chelsea game when we'd been drinking for about 7 or 8 straight hours, and I just fell asleep.
I had to put that up there. It was just really funny. Emirates asking Jesse Marsh, would you take him?
What, as in the Leeds manager?
No, sorry. Yeah, sorry. With the managers who first for the Kosh, I should say. Sorry, I was getting me conversations confused there.
I thought you meant like signing him as a left back. I was like, I don't know about that. I'll have to consult Football Manager.
But do you reckon he's going to be one of the first guys to go? I don't think he will.
No, first guy to go is going to be Frank Lampard.
Yeah.
And straight away, Frank Lampard at Everton is doomed to fail because they're in financial mismanagement. They've lost Richarlison. They're not really signing anyone other than Michael Keane, forgive me, Tarkowski, which isn't the worst signing in the world. As you know from our conversations before matches,
Yeah.
I think on a free transfer you can do a lot worse than Tarkowski.
Absolutely, mate, and we have done over the years.
Oh yeah. But I think Frank Lampard's first one to go, and I'm not even saying that with any bias. I just genuinely think Everton are in for another relegation battle, and they will blame the manager.
Yeah,
or they'll do a change of manager. Maybe they'll give it to Duncan Ferguson properly this time. I don't know. Other than that, Fulham is always good money on Fulham sacking a manager. There are 4 guarantees in life: death, taxes, Watford conceding from corners,
Fulham getting relegated,
Watford and Fulham sacking their managers before getting relegated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and again, Areola kept him up as much as he could because he made some fantastic saves that season. Okay, guys, we've gone on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's that's mostly due to the technical issues we were having earlier on. But guys, thank you very, very much for your time. It's been great to have everybody engaging in the conversations. One idiot who's putting comments in that just aren't going up because they're getting blocked every single time, and he hasn't figured this out. But last question. Brain's asking, will you be doing watch-alongs this season, JP? Yes, I will, because it's a staple of the channel. Every single away game, unless I'm there, of course. Then yes, we'll be doing them as usual, including the Europa League, the Europa Conference League, which is still Europa League, just a bastardized version of it. And also, any cup games and basic stuff as well. There's a lot more stuff coming to the channel as well, hopefully next season. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very, very much for sticking with us, and especially sticking around with the technical issues that we've had as well. This is one of the reasons why I don't do live on an evening. I prefer doing it at the weekends. But bearing in mind, it's literally 6 weeks to the end of the transfer window. 30 years ago today, the pass-back rule was abolished. It was too good of an opportunity, which we've already discussed. Really, it's a potato cup. Do us a favour. Come on. He's only had one season. It's a bit harsh of people saying about that. I was originally planning to do the live watch, the live reaction to the Europa League draws, but we'll be on the way back from Benidorm when that happens, so we won't be doing it.
No. We'll still be out there. Our flight ain't till like 8:30 in the evening.
Yeah, but I was going to do it live on the channel like I normally do. Because
right, you could just do a little video.
Because the next stuff that's going to be coming up, unless Tony's come back and done some videos because he got back from holiday last weekend. The next content will either be my reaction to that or the preview for the Man City game. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very, very much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week. Weather's balancing out a little bit. It's still a bit here and there, but it's still going to be quite warm. So look after yourselves. Take plenty of water, as we've always been talking about. But in the meantime, guys, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. And of course, Dennis, thank you very much for making your debut a lot longer than it should have been, but it's the way
That's
stuff
all right.
goes. So, yeah,
All right.
guys, look after yourselves, and we'll see you very soon. All the best.